Welcome back to the National Briefing with me, Kelly Nash. And MAGA, I have heard your cries. I think more importantly, Donald J. Trump has heard MAGA's cries. Yesterday, I tweeted out a link that Donald Trump had convinced India. India has now agreed to no longer buy Russian oil. And the point I was making was that Donald Trump is now on the verge of cutting off funding for the Russian military, and that the man is about to solve another war. He's like a beauty queen. The beauty queens wanted world peace. So does Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to get it. Eventually, I don't think it's going to be much longer. I think probably, I hate to say this, I'm going to put till the end of the year. This Russian thing will be solved before the end of the year, which is amazing to say here in October. But whether I'm right or wrong, we'll find out soon enough. But a lot of you MAGA folks got back at me and said, hey, what about America first? Why is he out here solving Palestinians' problems and Russians' problems and Ukrainian problems and solving wars all over the world? I want him focused on America. Well, yesterday, Donald Trump had a little get-together in the Oval Office. I didn't even know about this operation. It sounds like a Mark Wahlberg movie.
It's called Operation Summer Heat.
Thanks to our Department of Justice partners who had 2,100 indictments in 3 months. Mr. President, that in and of itself would be historic for a 4-year presidency, because you let good cops be cops. The dedication of the men and women at the FBI who want to go out there and do the job they were prevented from doing because that department used to be weaponized and politicized. Mr. President, during your administration, the FBI has found 5,400 children. That is a 30% increase. Gang arrests are up 210% in the last 7 months alone.
Now, that is just, and the list goes on and on. I could play that clip. There's probably 10 minutes of Kash Patel going through data, statistics, how it's all record-breaking, more gangbangers arrested, more cartel members arrested, more drugs taken off the streets than any previous administration. It's a long list of ways that they have been improving the United States of America, putting America first, solving the crime problem. If you solve the crime problem, it frees people up to go to work. It frees people up to be prosperous, to chase the American dream. All of that becomes possible when you remove the criminal element. And it also deters people who might be on the cusp of becoming a criminal. They're like, that looks like a lot harder work than I thought it was going to be. That's a real thing. Now, let me take you to Memphis, because what you heard was FBI statistics. Now we're into National Guard and how they've been cleaning up cities. You've already heard about Washington, D.C. These are just a small compilation of videos that I found on TikTok of people who live in Memphis. I will tell you, when they use the phrase YN, I can't say the word, so I'll say young ninjas. They're not really ninjas. That's not the word they're referencing. But anyway, that's what the YN reference is. But these are all Memphis residents, some of them very begrudgingly giving Donald Trump praise for singing in the National Guard to Memphis.
I ain't seen a ski mask in 2 weeks.
I ain't seen one in 2 weeks.
Ski mask.
I ain't seen no ski mask on, bro.
But since they brought the National Guard down to Memphis, I ain't heard no screeching tires out late at night. I ain't heard no gunshots. But these folks really got these folks scared to go outside now. Like,
I'm sitting on my porch right now, and I'm watching kids outside playing. People outside walking with their kids, stuff I ain't never seen before living in my neighborhood.
Never seen it
I
before.
hate it to be this way, but I'm happy.
Good for her.
Man, it's crazy how basically all the YNs in Memphis then went into hiding. Y'all been terrorizing the city for years. Walking around with Dracos and everything, with a standing clip, with drums and everything, with swishes, all in the corner stores and everything. Basically, man, acting like y'all the toughest thing in the world. Now that these National Guards and FBI agents, these folks down here, y'all hiding. Terrorizing terrorizing the city, stealing cars, breaking in folk houses, walking around like y'all real killers. Now, the killers is here, and y'all scared.
The killers are here, and y'all scared. That is a universal principle. Whether you're talking about strongmen like Nicolas Maduro, or you're talking about Xi in China, you're talking about Putin, you act like you're the real killers, and then the real killers show up and you stand down. Strength recognizes strength. The United States military is the strongest force on the planet, and people will bow down to that. Killers will bow down to that. They don't want to die. Most of them. I mean, you might get some radical terrorists who are cool with dying, but for the most part, most people are in it for themselves. And when they recognize, we've got a problem here because suddenly there's a force that's willing to kill us, that's willing to, and by the way, the ones that we were talking about with Kash Patel, those are federal cases. They're going to be federally prosecuted. So that eliminates the liberal judges, liberal prosecutors. Donald Trump is making sure that they go into federal jails, federal prisons, because a couple of the people in Memphis made the point, and they're right, that, you're arresting these people, but they're going to get right back out. If they're prosecuted locally, that's the way it's set up here in Memphis. And so here's my hope for a lot of Americans, because you've been trained in a lot of these cities to think Democrat, that Republicans are out to hurt you. Republicans are not out to hurt anybody. Republicans believe in freedom. Now, that includes the freedom to decide what kind of laws you want. What kind of lawmakers do you want? What kind of prosecutions do you want? Now that you're seeing what can be possible, and that Republicans actually, if you're thinking that Republicans are all rich white folks, none of this makes any sense. Going into Chicago, going into Portland, going into Memphis, none of this makes any sense. They're doing it because they want Americans to thrive. If you're an American, the Republican Party wants you to thrive. Now, it's up to you in your local elections to vote the right way. Vote for, when you hear these police chiefs and prosecutors and governors and mayors and people talking about, we need to find out the backstory on why you became a criminal. The hell you do? Nobody cares. If you're being honest, you shouldn't care about why they became a criminal. They became a criminal. Now, if you want to give them mental health issues and stuff, do it while they're locked in prison. You're locked in prison, we're going to give you some mental health issues. And if you're eligible for parole in 10 years, maybe when you get out in 10 years, you'll be in a lot better place. But we certainly don't want the recidivism rate to just we don't want it to just be a revolving door. But we don't want it that you're getting that help on the outside while you're still able to do crimes. You've at least, at the very minimum, admitted that I'm not in a good place right now. I'm stealing from people, I'm mugging people, I'm robbing people, I'm carjacking, I'm trafficking, I'm drug dealing. Something's not right with me. So while we get you better, let's get you better in some sort of custody where you can't do any more damage. The communities are going to start thriving again. America is setting itself up for its golden age. As crime gets back, as we grasp it, and you're never going to eliminate it, you have crime everywhere in the world. But if we can control it, and you see the tax policies are coming into place, you see world peace. If there's peace, there's prosperity. Without peace, you can't have prosperity. All of this is setting us up for a fantastic, fantastic future. So yes, America first. Yes, world peace. Donald Trump is doing both at the same time. And we are all better for it.